Hey guys, it's Desiree Alexander, aka Educator Alexander, and I am here to teach you Google Drive. So this class is really for basics level Google Drive, just for you to know how to use it for collaboration and for storage. So let's first answer the question, why would anyone use Google Drive? Google Drive is what is called cloud-based storage. So this is where you can actually come and store all of your information, all of your pictures, all of your documents, all of your videos, and it will be stored to the cloud. So that means you can get to it anywhere that you have the internet. So even on your phone, you can get to all of your documents and all of your pictures. Now, a cool thing I'm going to show you is you can actually get to it even if you don't have the internet. And I'll show you that a little bit later. So looking at cloud storage, why Google Drive is one of the leading cloud storage providers is because they also offer the collaboration piece. So I'm going to show you today how you can actually share stuff with people, and you can actually be working on it at the same time. You don't have to send a million emails back and forth every time somebody edits a document. You can actually be working on it at the same time, or if you're working on it at a different time than me, I can just log in and see all of the edits that you've already done without bothering you at all. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in to talk about how to get to Google Drive. There's 3 ways to get to Google Drive. The first way is if you go to a Google product, so let's say google.com, or you open up your Google Chrome to the new tab page, you're going to have what's called the Rubik's Cube. Some people call it the Waffle. Some people call it the 9 blocks. It's called a whole bunch of different things. The grid, the tic-tac-toe board. So it's called a whole bunch of different things. The most common is the Waffle. So if you click on the waffle, you'll see Google Drive right here. So you can just click on the icon and get to it. And the second way is if you're using Google Chrome and you have your bookmark bar activated, you'll see a button right here called Apps. If you're using a Chromebook, the Apps button is all the way down to the bottom where if you're using a Windows machine, where your Windows button is. But if I come here and I click on the Apps button, I can find my Google Drive right here. The last thing, or the last way that you can get there, is if you come here to your Omnibox, you can type in drive.google.com. Anytime you want to get to a Google product for education, you can just put the product's name, like Drive, and put .google.com behind it. So for example, calendar.google.com, classroom.google.com. So any of those things, .google.com will get you there. So let's go ahead and get to Google Drive. This is your Google Drive. Now your Google Drive may look much different from mine. However, if you see Drive up here in the corner, you are in the right place. So because this is a basics class, I'm going to show you what all the buttons on the screen do, and then I'm going to show you how to actually use Google Drive, how to get stuff in it, how to take stuff out of it, and all that good stuff. All right, let's begin. This first button right here, the one that says Drive, this is your home button. So if I come and I'm working in different folders and doing different stuff, if I want to go home to my drive, I can just come here and click on that top button. It always brings you to my drive. Then you have Search Drive. There's 3 ways you can search. The first way is if you just click Search Drive, you'll see that you can search by file type. So if I want to see all of my PDFs, I can come here and click it, and it shows me all of the PDFs in my folder. It also tells me I have some in trash. And the second way you can search is by keyword. So if I wanted to type, let's say cat for my keyword and hit enter, now it's going to not only show me the items that have cat in the title, it's also going to show me all of the documents and items that I have in here that have cat somewhere in the document. So it's a very strong search. The third way I can search is right here using the little down arrow. Anytime you see an arrow in Google, that means there's some awesome stuff underneath it. So you want to click it and see. So I'm going to click it, and this is my advanced search. So if I needed a much stronger search, I can do that here. If you're using advanced search a whole lot, that means you are unorganized with your Google Drive. So hopefully after today, when I show you how to get organized in your Google Drive, you won't have to use advanced search so much. Okay, moving on. The question mark, if you click that, you will see that you can contact, of course you have your help, but you can also contact support. So the cool thing about this is you can actually send feedback to Google. And the more people that ask for certain things, that's how we get updates. So anytime you look at something and you go, oh, I wish it worked this way, definitely go ahead and send that to Google, because you never know, that may be part of the next update. We'll come back to the gear. The gear is where you can find certain settings. We'll come back to this one at the end. Then you have your Rubik's Cube again. You have your notifications. You are never going to get a notification unless you use Google Plus, which is Google social media, or if you use Google Photos. Now, Google Plus is being discontinued, but Google Photos is not. And it's a really nice tool that if you use a lot of photos or take a lot of photos, it's a really nice tool to look into. So if you use Google Photos, you'll get notifications like, Sally looked at your photo, or Sally uploaded more photos, or something like that. So if you don't use those two tools, you really won't get any notifications. Now we get to your account. So mine says Educator Alexander right here. Yours will either say Google or it will say your company's name. So if you click here, one thing that I advise you to do is to change your profile picture. So when you first get started, they're going to give you a color and an initial for your name. So you can all you have to do is to come right here and hit change. And you can upload a photo of yourself. So I do suggest doing that. And even if you don't want a photo of yourself, upload a photo of something. It could be your favorite cartoon character. It could be a flower. It could be something that represents your company. But I do suggest uploading some type of picture so you can go ahead and change the initial with the letter on it. Add account. For your Google account, when you create an account, it's called a G Suite. You get a G Suite of services. So let's say your company or your school district creating an account for you. In that account, you have a YouTube channel, you have a Google Drive, you have Google Docs, you have Google Calendar, you have Google Keep, you have a whole bunch of different products. Some you may never ever use, but you still have access to the product. Now, if your company or your school created the account for you, that means they own that account. What I mean by that is they can turn products on and off. Like I know some school districts don't have Gmail. So they turn products on and off. When you create a personal account, you get a brand new set of products. So every account, every Google account you have is its own G Suite. It's its own island of services. So if you have multiple accounts, you may need to look into multiple accounts at the same time. So for example, if you notice, I am on my school account or my company account right now, but I really need to get to my personal account. How do I do that? I can come here to add account. It's going to ask me to log in. So I'm going to log in with my personal account. So now I can actually look at my personal Google account. Notice the picture has changed. This is the picture I have on my personal account. And now I'm in my personal account. Notice my school account or my company account is still open. They come in two different tabs because they're two completely different accounts. But now, look at this awesomeness. When I click here, I can go back and forth between the two accounts. So now I'm going back to my company account. Notice the E. So I can quickly get between accounts without going to sign out and sign in every time. You can actually log into 10 accounts at the same time. I tried to log into the 11th account and it just did not work. So you can log into 10 accounts at the same time. And you may ask the question, why in the world would you have so many Google accounts? Well, first and foremost for me, I'm a consultant. So when I consult with school districts, I sometimes get accounts. But for everybody, if you start using Google for different reasons, for example, you go to your church and they say, hey, we want a calendar where everyone can see everything that we're doing at the church. Can you create a Google Calendar for us? And of course, you're going to say, yes, I can. So if you start creating a calendar for your church, I strongly suggest to make an account for your church. So make an account for each group that you help. If you want to do something for the Girl Scouts and you want to make a Google form to take orders, all right, then make a whole account for the Girl Scouts. The point of doing that is if you ever have to leave that group or just leave your role in the group, all you have to do is give them the username and password and they have every single thing you did for that group. For example, I lead Ed Camp in LA, Ed Camp North Louisiana. So I started doing a whole bunch for Ed Camp. So what I did was I created a Google account just for Ed Camp in LA. So that way, everything that I do, from emails to Google Drive to any products I need to create, everything is done in that account. If I wanted to log into that account, I could just click Add Account and get to it. So that's how this section works. I will tell you that there is a difference between logging into Google Drive and logging into Google Chrome. A lot of people come up here to log into Google Drive. That's a no-no. You don't have to log into Google Chrome just to get to your Google Drive. Okay, you can just go to drive.google.com, log in, and get to all of your items. The reason that you would log into Google Chrome is if you want your extensions, if you want your bookmarks, if you need bigger stuff like your passwords, then yeah, you do want to log into Google Chrome. But you really don't have to do that just to get to your drive. And it's a little different on a Chromebook. On a Chromebook, you are logging in automatically to Google Chrome. But the good thing is with a Chromebook is that it's a much safer to log you out because you can only be on one Google Chrome account at the same time. So my main message with this is that you can log into Drive without logging into Chrome. So there you go. Let's look at the second row. You have the My Drive button, which we'll talk about in a second. But I mainly want to talk about how your drive looks. So this is what's called the list view. It shows you a list of your folders and items. It shows you who owns it, when was the last time it was touched, who did it, and a file size if it has a file size. If you come up here and click this little button, this is what's called a grid view. So the grid view is much more visual. It puts your folders in little boxes and it gives you a snapshot of what is actually in your files. Some people love this type of view and some people love the list view. I actually love the list view. So you can decide which view you like. Notice this view does not give you the information, but it is much more visual. The I. The I stands for your details for your Google Drive, and this could be really, really helpful once you start sending stuff, once you start sharing stuff, and once you start collaborating in your Google Drive with other people. So let's look at the I. What this does is it shows you who is doing what. Now, this is my trainer account, so there's mainly just going to be me doing stuff. But if I go to my personal account and look at the I, you'll see that different people are doing things with the items that I or other people have shared. So Nicole is editing this item. This item I didn't create, someone shared it with me. And so now we're all going to work on it. And I see that she's already working on it. I see that other people are working on other things. So this person shared an item with me. So it's really, really cool because you can come here and you can see, okay, who is doing what. So Matt is doing a lot of work on that item that he shared with us. So this person uploaded something to a folder. So you can see who is doing what. This is really important because it can help you not only see who's working, but it can help you in situations such as I was working in a school district and we were doing an accreditation. Well, one of the directors left and started deleting her stuff, but we needed it for the accreditation. So I was able to come to activity. I was able to see her name and I saw all of her items with a line through it. So automatically I was able to see, okay, she's deleting stuff. I was able to call her and say, hey, we need this stuff back. Get it out of the trash, restore it so we can see it. So it was very quickly that I was able to do an investigation just by the eye. I didn't have to call her and say, hey, what's happening? Like, send me your username and password. We need to see what's going on. I was able to just go to the eye, see what was happening, and solve the situation. So the eye can be a very, very helpful tool in your Google Drive. Again, it's really useful after you start sharing stuff with people. If you're the only one doing stuff, hopefully you remember that you did it. All right. Now we're going to go down this side. We're getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty now. My Drive. My Drive is your baby. That's your USB. That's where everything is stored. When you create something, it's in My Drive. When you upload something, it's in My Drive. So this is your baby. This is your sweetheart. If you look at the little arrow right here, if you click it, what it's going to do is it's going to show you all of your folders. If you don't have any folders, you won't see anything. But it only shows you all of your folders. Why does it do that? It does it to make it easy for you to take stuff and drag it into the folder. Okay, so if you're trying to organize yourself, which I do suggest, that's how you can do it in an easier way. If you hover over the folder and there's subfolders, notice the subfolders just pop up. Now, of course, you can do it this way and find the folder, right? But it's just so much easier and so much faster to use the little arrow on Google Drive, on My Drive. Team drives is something your district turns on. And then if you want to make a team drive, it's really just a shared folder, if you think about it that way. So you can create a team drive where anything you put in that drive will be shared with whoever you shared it with. So for example, if I have a math team, we can create a team drive and whatever we put in that team drive will automatically be shared with other people that's in the math department that I shared it with. Share it with me. Share it with me is super important. When somebody shares something with you, this is where it goes. They cannot put it in your drive. Because remember, your drive is like your USB. That is your baby. Nobody can do anything in your drive without you saying so. Okay? So a lot of people will ask me, if I create stuff, where does it go? It goes into my drive. Well, if I create stuff, can everybody in my district see it? No. They can only see it if you share it with them. Now, I do want to do a little asterisk. If your district owns the account, that means that they own the account. So if they needed to get into it for any type of investigation, they are able to. So I just want to make sure you understand that. So if I share a document with you because I want to start working with you, it's going to come to share it with me. You can think about this almost like your mailbox. It's not a mailbox. You can think about it like a mailbox. If somebody shares something with you, this is where it goes. So what is your job? Your job is when somebody shares something with you to come to share it with me, click it, and then drag it into my drive. That's your job. Okay? Just like you don't take your checkbook and start paying your bills right there at the mailbox, you really shouldn't be working in my drive. I'm sorry, in share with me. So what you want to do is you want to take it and you want to drag it to my drive or in a folder. And then now you can work on it however you want to. It's still shared with everybody else and you should be good to go. Then you don't really have to come to share with me that often. Some of the reasons why you want to do that is because share with me, the most recent stuff that people share with you will be up here at the top. So eventually your document that you're working on is going to go down, 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 down. And you can always search for it. But why go through all that when I can take this, put it in my drive, and it can be in alphabetical order. I can put it in whatever folder I want to put it in and all that kind of stuff. Another reason is because if you use Google Classroom, especially if you use Google Classroom with students, your My Drive is going to be boggled down with student work. So anytime a student turns something in, it's actually going to show up in Share It With Me as well. So eventually your Share It With Me is going to become a parking lot for student work. So you want to go and grab whatever you need to grab and throw it in your My Drive. Recent is really no magic to recent. Recent is just the recent things that have been shared with you or the recent things that you have touched. I shouldn't say the recent things that have been shared with you, but the recent things that you have touched, the recent things you have modified, the recent things you have opened. So really no magic there. Starred, these are your favorites. When you star something, that means you want to get to it quickly. So you can, I will show you how to do that. So you can star something, it's going to come right here. And then these are the projects that you're working on. Again, the stuff you need to get to very quickly. You can just come here to start and start working. You don't have to search or anything like that. You do not want to star your whole Google Drive folder. That makes no sense. But you do want to star the stuff that you want to get to quickly. Trash. Anytime you delete something in Google Drive, it comes to trash if you own it. If you own it, it comes to trash. How do you know if you own something? If you created it, you own it. Or if you uploaded it to your Google Drive, you own it. So if you own it and you delete it, it will come here to trash. If I share something with you and you delete it, it goes to what I call Google Heaven. I don't know where Google Heaven lives. I don't know where it goes. So I'm just letting you know that if you own it, it comes to trash. If you don't own it, it goes to Google Heaven. If it does come to trash, you can restore it. You can right click and restore it. You can also empty your trash. Sometimes that's going to be under here, under my deleted from my drive. Other times it's going to be a button up here. Let me click off. It's going to be a button right here that says empty trash. It really depends on how your Google Drive has been updated. But you can empty your trash. Google is supposed to empty your trash every 30 days. It doesn't really happen, but they are supposed to empty your trash every 30 days. Just know that trash is not a folder. So what do I mean by that? You shouldn't put stuff in trash because you want to get to it later. Trash is exactly what it sounds like, trash. So if you ever come to trash and it's all gone, you shouldn't be mad at that. Okay, that's like putting your stapler in the trash can in your room and then being mad tomorrow morning when it's not there. So trash is not a folder that you want to actually put stuff in. If you put it in trash, you should be ready to get rid of it. Storage. For a personal Google account, your storage is 15 gigabytes. For a school account, your storage is unlimited. Yay! So I hear your mind right now going, ooh, So if I do have a personal account and I get up to 15 gigabytes, I can just throw all the rest of my personal stuff in my school account because it's unlimited. No, ma'am. No, sir. You need to keep your personal stuff in your personal account and your school stuff in your school account. Do not mix the two. To get I think 100 gigabytes on a personal account is $1.99 a month. It's not gonna break the bank. So no, 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 keep it separate. But the reason why the school account gives you unlimited is because everybody's gonna be there for what, another 20 years, right? 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 So that's why they give you unlimited, so you never have to worry about deleting stuff because your storage is dying and all that good stuff. All right. What is the way that I showed you of how we get back to our Google Drive, our My Drive? Yay, you remembered. So we come up here and we click the button. You can also click My Drive right here, either one. Okay, now we're getting even further into the nitty gritty. The New button. The New button and the My Drive button pretty much has the same buttons. So just know that. So under the New button, let's start working. First thing I want to show you is how to create a folder. So we're going to go ahead and click here, and I'm going to name my folder Delete. Create. This is how you create a folder. If you need to rename your folder, you have to right click on it. Many things that we're going to look at today is under the right click. If you know how to right click, you know how to use Google Drive. So if I right click, I have to come here to rename, and I can rename it. You know how on computers you can kind of hover over it for a little bit and wait for a second and then it'll let you rename it? If that will not happen on Google, you have to right click and go to rename. Next is, how do I upload stuff into my Google Drive? What's the difference between uploading and downloading? Right. Downloading is when you want to get stuff from the internet. Uploading is when you want to put something on the internet. So we will be uploading files. So if I come here to File Upload, I can click that and it's going to give me a box in a second. So now I can upload, I'm going to make my box a little bit smaller. So now I can upload files. I can actually upload multiple files by just dragging and then hitting open. Or I can just upload one file. So I'm going to come here. I can click and hit open, or I can just double click. So when I do that, notice that it is uploading, and anytime I see that little green arrow, it's telling me that it is in my Google Drive. I have done it successfully. So there I go. I have it right here. Then you have folder upload. So folder upload is a little different. Sometimes the box is really, really small when you first get it. You can just drag the corner. So folder upload only shows you folders, because when you click folder upload, you're saying that you want to upload an entire folder. So if I double click this folder right now, it's going to start uploading the entire folder. It's not going to show me the individual files in the folder. It's going to upload the entire folder. If I want to see the individual files, that's when I go to File Upload. Okay, so that's how your folders and files work to upload them. The third way that you can upload stuff, which is probably the most common way, is you can only use it if you're using Google Chrome. So you may say, well, don't I have to use Google Chrome to use Google Drive? No, you don't. You can get to Google Drive anywhere that you have the internet. You can do it with Firefox, Safari, Internet Edge, Internet Explorer. However, if you want to see every button and see every tool, then you need to use Google Chrome. So the way I'm going to show you right now, you have to use Google Chrome. So the third way to get stuff in here is to drag and drop. So if I make my screen just a little bit smaller, I can actually come here and drag and drop an entire folder. I can also drag and drop multiple folders by just highlighting. Or if I wanted to open this up, I can just highlight files and do it that way as well. So what I want to show you is when you're dragging and dropping, just a little tip. If I drag and I drop this right now, it's going to go inside this folder. So if I want it in my drive, I have to kind of hover over the top of this. And when everything is highlighted, you see that big blue box? Now I can drop it and it's going to be in my drive. And actually it tells you in the middle of the screen where it's going to go. You see how it says drop files to instantly upload them to my drive. But if I come here, it's going to say to upload them into course. So just be careful with that. If I wanted to put them in here, then that's perfect. But if I just wanted it to be in my drive, I have to come kind of up here to the top and drop it when the big blue box is there. Okay, so I want you to put your thinking caps on because I have a question for you. How can I upload a file? Sorry, sometimes it does that. It goes straight to folder. How can I upload a file into a folder that I already have without dragging and dropping it? Right. If I come here and open up this folder, now I can come and do a file upload, and I can upload this directly into this folder. So just know that if you wanted to automatically put something in a folder, you can do it while you're uploading. You don't have to do it after and drag and drop it. If I wanted to delete this, remember most of everything that you want to do is right clickable. I can also, when I click on it, notice I have some tools up here. Those same tools are under your right click. Okay, so you can get them up here or right here. So I'm going to remove that and I'm going to go back to my drive. Remember, you can click the button at the top, but you can also click this button as well. Okay, so I'm back to my drive. Now, before we go through the rest of the new button, I want to show you how your Google Drive is organized. Your Google Drive is organized by folders at the top, loose files at the bottom. The files are in alphabetical order. The folders are in alphabetical order. So what you need to ask yourself is if you want folders to sit at the top or files to sit at the top, you need to either use characters, like the exclamation point, or you want to use the number system. So what the number system does is if you start with 0, 1 dash, whatever you put behind that is going to come and sit at the top. So even though my folder may start with a Z, for example, it's still going to come sit here at the top. So that's one of the ways to organize yourself. You do want to start with 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, because if you do 1, 2, 3, when you get to 10, 10 is going to go hang out with 1. So it's going to say 1, 10, 11, 12. So you don't want that to happen. So 0, 1, 0, 2. And the other thing you can do, like I told you earlier, is star it. So how do I star it? I come here and right click. I knew that's where you were going. Good. If I right click, I can click add to start. So let's see if this works. Add to start. Notice it put a star here right by it. If I am on the grid view, I'm actually not going to see that star right by it. So keep that in mind. But in list view, I do see the star by it. So I'm going to go to start and see if it's in there. Ta-da! Yay, it's in here. How do I get it out of star? Let's say I'm done working on that project. I'm going to right click on it and remove from star. Perfection. The other thing I can do with the right click is I can change the color of my folder. So I can actually come here and color coordinate my folders. For example, I can have all of my lesson plan folders in red, all my money folders in green, or anything like that. So know that you can change the color of your folder. The other thing you can do with right click is you can download your folder. So if you ever want this whole folder, but maybe you want it on your desktop or your My Documents, you can come here and download the folder. Now, we are going to talk about files in a second, but I will tell you a little bit about downloading a file and how it's different from downloading a folder. Okay, let's go back to the New button. If you click the New button, the other things you see on here are called Google Apps for Education. You have Google Docs, which is your equivalent to Microsoft Word. You have Google Sheets, which is your equivalent to Microsoft Excel. You have Google Slides, which is your equivalent to Microsoft PowerPoint. So I like to call these your aunts and uncles. You have Google Drive, which is your grandpappy, and then you have your aunts and uncles. If you come here to more, you have other Google products. Google Forms is how you can create quizzes and sign-in sheets and registrations and order forms, and anytime you want to collect data, you can use a Google form. You have Google Drawings where you can create posters and flyers and drawings and logos and all types of stuff. You have Google My Maps, which will hold your directions and stuff like that for you, but you can do projects. So you can actually create a map and send it to your students. Tell them to pinpoint where they went on summer vacation, add 5 pictures about it, and describe each picture's importance. Different things like that. Google Sites is how you and your students can create websites. So it's one of the easiest website creators with the new new Google Sites. One of the easiest website creators I have ever seen. And then you can connect more apps if you would like to. So, when we're looking at loose files, these little symbols are super important. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. So, the P is PowerPoint. The little boxes of color are always your Google products. The PowerPoint and the Google Slide is the only one that's not pretty much the exact same color as Microsoft, because Microsoft PowerPoint is orange and Google is yellow. But they tried to get it as close as possible. If it's a picture, it's going to show as a picture. It's going to give like a little snapshot of a picture. If it is a PDF, it's going to show PDF. If it's a Microsoft Word, it's going to have a W. This one will be the Google Doc equivalent. X is Excel. The little green is your Google Sheets. So you have some other ones like Google Forms is purple, Google Sites is a color. So you have other ones, but those are the main ones, because what I want to show you right now is how can I take a PowerPoint and change it into a Google slide. Why would I even want to do that? Because if you want your students, your co-teachers, whoever, if you want them to be able to manipulate it, you want them to type on it, you want them to answer the questions, you want them to drag and drop, you want them to actually work on whatever I'm sending them, it has to be a Google product. It cannot be Microsoft. So for example, if I wanted to send this PowerPoint, all they're going to be able to do is see the PowerPoint, view the PowerPoint, read the PowerPoint. They're not going to be able to edit it with me. They're not going to be able to add some extra slides. So if I want them to do that, that means I need to take this PowerPoint and I need to change it into a Google slideshow. So let's work with the Word document. So how do I transfer this over? 2 ways. The first way is I can right click on it, go to open with Google Docs. Once I do that, Google is now transforming this Word document into a Google Doc. Yay! Where would this Google Doc be saved? It's going to be saved on my Google Drive. Also, the Word document is still going to be on my Google Drive. It's not going to go away. So we're back on my Google Drive. Notice I still have my Word document, and I now have the dog document at 10:03 a.m. So this is the one that I just created. Woo-hoo. So you will have both. The one thing that Google recently started doing is notice how this one has .doc. This one does not. So that helps you a little bit if you don't want to rename it. However, you remember I told you these little symbols were important? You may be sitting there going, well, she said they were important, but she didn't really tell me why. Well, they're important because you want to make sure to share the right one with people. Because they're named the same thing, again, if I want them to edit it, it has to be a Google Doc. So I don't want to share the wrong document with them and then have to reshare the real document with them. So these little icons will help you. They go a long way to know which of these do I really want to share with people. Do I just want them to read it? Or do I actually want them to edit it? The second way to transfer this to a Google Doc is to open it. So if I double click on it, this is what's called the preview screen. So notice it's a Microsoft Word, so all I can do is read it. But if I come up here to open with Google Docs, ta-da, it's doing the same thing. Now, when you do transfer stuff over, you do want to look at your charts and graphs and make sure they transfer over correctly. If you have columns in your Microsoft Word document, you want to see if they transfer over. You may have to do the columns again. If you use text boxes, you don't. But if you use like regular columns, you may have to do those again. And one of the things that you do lose is your font. So if you have specialty fonts that you downloaded from Hip Hop Fonts, those are not going to transfer over. So just understand that. I am going to show you in a little bit how you can get more fonts on your Google Doc. But if you have really, really specialty fonts, they are not going to transfer over. Okay, so which one of these can you transfer over? And look, this is 10:05. So which one of these can you transfer over? Can you transfer everything over? No. You can only transfer over your aunts and uncles. Okay, so if you ever forget, it's the ones that get the most respect, the ones before you have to go to more. So only your aunts and uncles. You can transfer Word to Docs, you can transfer Excel to Sheets, and you can transfer PowerPoint to Slides. Google has just started updating transferring PDF to Docs. It still does not transfer well, but just know that they have started updating to where you can transfer a PDF to a doc. It just doesn't transfer well at this time. So there you go. Those are the ones that you can transfer over. Now, I told you I was going to tell you a little bit more about downloading a Google product and how it's different from a folder. So Google only lives online. Google only lives online. So if I right click on this and download it, it will become Microsoft. So if I download this Google Doc, it's going to become a Microsoft Word document. Of course, if I download a PDF, it's going to be a PDF. If I download an Excel, it's going to be Excel. But if I download a Google Sheet, it's going to become an Excel document on my computer. So just understand that if you download these, they will become Microsoft. Let's look at some other stuff that you can do with right click. One of the best things you can do is make a copy. So there's two reasons you would make a copy. One is to steal people's stuff. So if someone sends you something that is amazing, it's awesome, you don't know what you did for the rest of your life without it, what you can do is you can make a copy of it. So for example, I have something that's shared with me in my file. Let me find it. So I have two things shared with me. So if I wanted to steal her stuff, I can come here, make a copy. Notice it's creating the copy. And then it's always going to put the words copy of in front of it. So I know that this is a copy. But the cool thing is, look who owns this copy. Me. So when you make a copy of someone's stuff, you own this one. Now, if me and Katia were working on this together and I came here and edited this, will she see it? Well, no, she wouldn't, because this one is owned by me. So this one is my copy, is owned by me. The only way anybody else would see it is if I shared it with them. So that is one reason you would make a copy. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard, which is another way to remove it. Another reason to make a copy of something is if I am about to share something with someone and I want them to work on it with me, but I want to keep an original. Because if I share this with somebody right now, when they start typing on it, it's going to change my original, right? I shared it with them. But if I make a copy, I can keep the copy as my original or keep the original as my original, whatever I want to do. But I can keep one of them as my original. So now nobody will be touching this one and we can all work on the other one. So if we make a mistake on it, I can say, hey, that's okay. I have an original. I'll share the original with you. Now, of course, I'm not going to share the original because I'm going to make a copy again and then share the other one. So make a copy is really, really helpful. So other things with the right click that I want to show you is how to share stuff. We keep saying share, 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 but I haven't showed you how to share items with other people. One thing before I get there, before I forget, you cannot make a copy of an entire folder. You can make a copy of a file, but you cannot make a copy of an entire folder. So what you would have to do is you would have to click in that folder, do this, and make a copy. And then move all the copies to a different folder. Yeah, it's not cute, but that's the way that you would have to do it if you want to make a copy of an entire folder. And then if you have a subfolder, you'll have to click in there and keep going. Okay, how do you share stuff? We're going to right click and we're going to go to share. Now, when I'm looking at sharing stuff, I honestly always go to advanced because I feel like in advanced it shows me everything I need in a one-stop shop. Okay, so there's two ways to share stuff. You see this big space? And there's the top way and the bottom way. The top way is how to share using a link. The bottom way is how to share using somebody's email address and it's going to go into share with me. So, why would I use the top? Why would I use the bottom? The top part can be shared with anybody, even if they don't have a Google account. Also, the top part is if I just want you to look at something, read something, work on something for a limited amount of time, I can just send you the link so you can work on it. The bottom part, if I need you to have something for an extended amount of time, I'm going to send you my schedule for the year. So I want you to see where I'm going to be for the whole year. I'm going to send you the lesson plan format for the year. I'm going to send you a slideshow, and I want us to work on the slideshow for a couple of months to get it together. If it's anything like that we're going to be working on for an extended amount of time, even if the extended amount of time is a week or 2 weeks, I can put your email address here and I'm going to share it so it can go into your share with me. And then you can move it to my drive and you have it to work on. You don't have to keep going back to the email where the link is. So, how do I do this? Let's look at the link first. This is the link that you would copy. They've already done it for you. It's already ready to go. So there's something wrong with this link. Notice that it says that this link is private, only you can access. So if I sent this link out right now, if people click on it, it's going to say you don't have access to get to this link. So I need to come here and change this before I send out the link. The cool thing is if I send out the link by mistake before I come and change it, all I have to do is come and change it, and that's it. I don't have to resend out the link. Once I change it and update it, it automatically updates for everybody that has the link. Pretty cool. So I'm going to come here to change, and I have some different options. Public on the web, you're not going to use that much. That means anybody across the world can Google it and find it. There's no Google signing required. The second one is the one you're going to use the most. Anyone with the link. That means anybody that has access that can click on that link can get to this. They don't have to have a Google account and they don't have to be signed in. Now, these two are district specific. So this one says anybody who signed into the district's account can Google it and find it. You're not going to use that too much. This one says anyone who is signed into the district account who can click on the link can get to it. This one is a little bit more secure if you're sending it just to people in your district. However, you want to make sure that everybody in your district knows that they have a Google account. If your district is just getting started with Google, I do not suggest this link. I suggest sticking here to the second one. Also, if you're sending this to anyone in the general public, like your parents, you're going to have to do the second one. So you have these, and then that's your first thing to do. Your second thing to do is what do you want them to be able to do with it? Can edit means exactly how it sounds. They can do everything you can do. They can delete the whole thing if they want to. But they can edit it, they can highlight it, they can make changes. Can comment means that they cannot edit, they cannot change it, but they can comment on the side of it. So they can't change the middle, but they can say, hey, I think we need a comma here. Hey, I think this needs to be capitalized. So where can edit, they can just do it themselves. Can comment means they just need to comment and tell you to do it. And then you have can view, which again is exactly what it sounds like. They can look at it, they can read it, but they can't comment and they can't edit. So you decide what they can do with it. So I'm going to say they can edit it, and I'm going to hit save. The check that you want to do is, does this sentence say what you want it to say? Anyone who has the link can edit it. Perfection. Now I can send this out and it is ready to be edited by anybody that has that link. Woo-hoo. The second way to send this to somebody, remember, is to put it in their share with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and I'm going to use their Google account. And I say it that way because some districts have an email account and a Google account, like an @g.dot account. So if you're going to send this to somebody, you want to send it to their Google account. So for some, it's the same thing as their email address, but for some, it's not. So for example, if you have a G.dot in front of your regular email account, you're going to send it to your G.dot account. All right, so you just go ahead and put everybody's name right here that you want to share it with. And then you can come here to the pencil and you can choose what can they do with it. You probably want to notify them. It's going to send them an email saying, hey, somebody shared something with you. If they're brand new, sometimes I turn this off so they can understand that you don't need that email. It goes into share with me. So as soon as somebody shares something with you, give it a couple of seconds, but as soon as somebody shares something with you, it just pops into share it with me. You don't have to get an email telling you that they shared it with you. But if you want to send them an email, you can just leave this checked, and you can even add a message like, don't worry about this till Thursday. Something like that. And then you have two buttons at the bottom, which are very, very helpful. Prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. So that means if I gave them editing access, I can prevent them from sharing this with other people. The second one is even more important. This is how you can stop people from stealing your stuff. I showed you earlier how to steal other people's stuff. But if I don't want you to steal this, I can check this. And it says that you will not be able to download it, you will not be able to print it, and you will not be able to make a copy. Now, this is only for commenters and viewers. Because if you give them editing access, of course, they can just copy and paste it. So this is only for commenters and viewers, but both of these are really good settings for owners to know. So I'm going to go ahead and send this and share it with Educator Alexander. It's saying, hey, this is an @g.gmail account. This is not part of your domain. I know this is not part of my school district, but I still want to share it with that person. So I'm going to click yes. And now I've shared it with that person. Woohoo! I'm done. Notice the little people that pop up right here. All that means is that you've made this shareable. It does not mean that you actually shared it with somebody. For example, you notice this one doesn't have any people. But if I come here to share, private. But if I change this, now the little people pop up. So I haven't shared it with anybody because I haven't sent the link out, but it's just showing you that this is shareable. So I want to ask you a couple of things. What if I want to make the link not shareable anymore? That's when I can come back here to share and change it to only specific people, off. Notice that it made it private again. So now, even if I sent this link out to the whole world, I have changed it back to private. So now I can hit done and notice the little people disappeared. This is no longer shareable. Now, what if I shared it with share it with me? What if I shared it with specific people? If I right click and go to share, it's going to be a list right here showing me who I shared this with. If I want to unshare it with them, that means it's going to disappear out of their Google Drive. I can just come here and click the X and it will unshare, and I have to save, and it will unshare it with them. The other thing I can do is I can change this one person's editing rights. So let's say I have 5 people that I shared it with, but Desiree keeps messing up my stuff. So I can come here and say, you know what? Now you can view it, and I can hit save. So then when she walks up to me in the hallway and she's like, hey, Desiree, I can't type on it anymore. I can just say, Google be crazy. I don't know. I'll look into it. That's crazy. I know what I did, but I may want to save her feelings. I just can't have her messing up my stuff anymore. So per person, you can change their rights. I can also make this person the owner, which means I don't want to own that document anymore. Let's say I'm leaving the group or I'm leaving the district. I want to go ahead and make somebody else the owner so they can do all of this stuff to the document. So the other thing you can do is set an expiration. So if I click here, notice that I can set an expiration for 30 days, 7 days, or a custom date. What an expiration is it will delete from that person's account whenever the expiration hits. It's almost like Mission Impossible. It's going to just explode. It's not going to explode, but it will delete itself from that other person's account. So I can set an expiration if I would like to, or I can cancel the expiration. This is the same little thing, setting expiration. So those are all the different things you can do once you share it with a person. You can actually unshare it with them and hit save changes. You may have seen when I come here to right click, I can get shareable link. This is a very quick way to get the link. So if I just click get shareable link, the link is going to turn on. It's going to say can edit, and this is the link. Oh, sorry. This is the link that I can get. Let me refresh my screen. It looks like it kind of got caught up for a second. So, for example, I'm going to do that with the link that I turned off. So when I go back to dogs, notice this one is not shareable. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. If I right click, I can say get shareable link. Notice it's off. I can just quickly turn it on. It says can view, and now I can send it. I can right click, copy it, and send it. Now, if I needed to get into more sharing settings, that's when I'm again gonna go to advanced and do some other stuff. So that's why honestly I just like to go to advanced because everything is here. I don't have to worry about clicking here, clicking there, clicking here. So in my opinion, the best way is to just right click, go to share, go to advanced, and do everything you need to do. You have all of the options here waiting on you. So that is how you share stuff with people. The last things I want to show you is going to the new button, and let's just see a couple of things with a Google Doc. The good things with Google products is once you know one of them, you can kind of navigate most of them. So for example, how do you title it? Once I show you this, you'll know how to title a Google slide, a Google sheet, etc., etc. So when I come here, I'm going to call this delete so I know to delete it later. A common mistake that people make is once they name it, they say, okay, well, I'll work on it later, and they come here and they exit off. This has not been saved because the box is still active. Excuse me, I actually have to click off of the box, and now it is being saved. Now it's been saved in my Google Drive. I want you to look right here while I'm typing. What is it automatically doing? It's automatically saving. Google does not have a save button. That is one of the biggest, most awesome things about Google, but it's also the most scary because we're so used to clicking save, 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 save. But you don't have to do that anymore. So as I'm typing, it is automatically saving for me. Now I do have to give it about a second to save. So if I am Speedy Gonzalez and I'm doing this, I cannot come up here and just click the X. I do have to give it a second to save. Okay? Other quick things I want to show you is that the toolbar is pretty much the same as a Microsoft Word document. But if you just hover over stuff, it'll show you what it is. I told you that I was going to show you how to get more fonts. So if you come here to font, you are going to have fonts that are hanging out here. However, if you go to more fonts, all of the fonts that are not checked are not showing up. So you want to come here and check all of the fonts so you can see them all. Because I have a lot of people that will say, dang it, I like Google, but they just don't have a lot of fonts. Well, they do. You just have to come check them so they can show up. Under File, you have a download as. So you can do Microsoft or PDF or some other things. You also have Page Setup. Page Setup is where you can go from landscape to portrait. You can change the page color and different things like that. And again, I'm not showing you too much about the Google Doc, but I just want to show you a couple of things. The other thing I want to show you is version history. So how can I see who has done what on this Google Doc? I'm actually going to get out of this one and go to a different Google Doc. Notice my delete has been saved. But if I go to one that I've been using for a little bit longer, and there's different ways to get to version history, but I'm just going to come right here. Whenever it loads, it's taking its own sweet time. So if I do something so it can save my version history, I can click where it says all changes saved in Drive. If I click there, it's going to show me the different versions of this file. So what does that mean for you? It means, you see how it has my name, Educator Alexander, and a little box of color? Notice how this is in that color, and if I hover over, because somebody said, well, what if I'm colorblind? Well, if I hover over it, it'll show me exactly who did what. So if you give this to 5 students and one of the students says, Johnny didn't do anything, you can come here and see what did Johnny do. It will show you each person in a different color. and then it will highlight what that person did. So if I come to an earlier one, let's see, did I do anything? Doesn't look like I did anything to that one. So it'll show you, oh, look, that's what I typed. So it'll show you what you did. And then you notice some of these have little arrows. That's because it's taking even more snapshots. So notice I did that. And then if you delete something, it's going to have a line through it. Ta-da! I just happened to click on the right one. So it'll show me, hey, Desiree deleted this. That's not good. Another cool thing about version history is you can restore it back to that version. So if this is what, somebody deleted somebody's stuff or somebody messed up somebody's stuff, I can come here and say, you know what, restore this version, restore it back to this. Or I can just, copy and paste it and go copy it back into the Google Drive. Okay, so however you want to do that. But I just wanted to quickly show you version history because it really is a nice thing that you can use and do. So I just wanted to show you that there's a bunch of other stuff you can do with a Google Doc. But for now, I only want to show you one last thing. Under Tools, you do have a voice typing option. And you have a whole bunch of other stuff, guys. It's really cool. But for the voice typing, notice it says, can I use it? I'm going to say yes, so it knows that it can use it. Now I'm going to click on it. Oh, it's already doing what I want it to do. New line. The man went to the store. Period. He bought eggs, comma, bread, comma, and milk. Exclamation point. New line. Uh-oh. New line. Okay, well sometimes new line doesn't work as well as I want it to work. But you can see that it does type what you are saying. So even if you have to go back and make sure that it typed exactly what you wanted, this can be a game changer for you and your students because you don't have to type everything that you actually want to type on your Google Doc. To turn it off, you can just come here and click it. Or cook it. Alright, so that is voice typing. I did want to show it to you. I'm going to delete all this awesomeness. So we go back to my Google Drive. This has been here. Notice it shows that it was last modified at 10:33. And I just wanted to show you a little bit about Docs. Now you can do a lot more stuff with the other ones, but I did want to show you a little bit about Docs. So that is your Google Drive basics. Last thing that we want to get into is the gear. So I told you we would come back to settings. You have your keyboard shortcut. You have your either get file stream or you may see get sync and backup. What this does is you can actually download this on a personal or the personal computer or the computer that your school actually checked out to just you. Because what this does is everything that you create on your desktop, on your computer, can be automatically saved to your Google Drive. So you can play around with that. But I just want to show you a couple of settings and then we're actually done. So in your settings, I do not suggest this button for you first getting started. What this does is it converts every file to a Google file. Well, sometimes you may want to save a Microsoft document, so I don't suggest that. Offline, I'm already using it, so that's why you see it says another user. I'm already using it for my personal account, excuse me, on this computer. However, I do suggest that you turn on offline access. What this does is it allows you to use Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Docs on a computer even if you don't have the internet. So you can stay working even if you don't have the internet. So I do suggest you turning this on. The only hang up is you have to turn it on when you have the internet. So you have to turn it on now, and then when you go to the airport or you go to a school that doesn't have good service, you can still use your Google stuff and still get to your Google Drive even if you don't have the internet. Woohoo! Quick access. I'm going to turn mine on so you can see it. So this is quick access. All these boxes at the top of your screen. Some people love it because what quick access does is it shows you the most recent things you've touched and are the most recent things that have been shared with you. And you can quickly click on them and get to them. I personally don't like it because it takes up too much of my screen. So to turn it on and off, you can just go to your settings and turn it on or off by checking it. So now it's off. And last but not least is your density. So right now my density is comfortable. There's a lot of white space. Okay, the words are little, not big, but big. I can come here and change that to cozy. So this is cozy where there's a little less white space. It's a little bit smaller. Or I can come here and change it to compact. So now you can notice I have a lot less white space, but I see more stuff on the screen, and it's a little bit smaller. So it really depends on you and your eyesight and things like that, which one you want to leave it on. I like comfortable just because I don't have good eyes. So comfortable helps me out a little bit. So that is it for Google Drive Basics. You know everything you need to know to get started. Do you know every single thing in the world? Well, no, you don't. But you know enough to get started, to start using it, to start sharing your documents with other people, to actually start working on stuff together. And to save your stuff. Remember, Google saves all file types: music, videos, pictures. You don't have to send those pictures, 5 pictures at a time anymore. You can just create a folder, put the pictures in there, share the folder, and now everybody has the pictures. Or you can use Google Photos. So there's so many different reasons to use Google Drive. You know enough to get started. You can rewatch this video. You can pause it. You can play with it. And of course, you can always email me any questions. You can always go to my website, educatoralexander.com, and you can contact me there. So start using Google Drive, and good luck.